Now, of course, we all heard about many trades and things like that surround the Clippers right now because of the disappointment in the playoffs, and the offseason is early for them. And, a lot of pieces that they have will be moving pieces this offseason just due to contract situations and just the fact that, they might be looking for a little bit more of a different look going into next season, just because things might not have worked out with the plans they had prior, to going into next season after the NBA Finals and this season is completely over with. But either way, there's some trade proposals out there. And the one that is sticking out to me right now that I'm really not too sure about. Basically, this would be the trade for the Clippers and Sixers that would basically, send a player like Tobias Harris back to the Clippers. And, with this trade here, me personally, I'm not too big up on this trade specifically because, for one, I'm not the biggest Tobias Harris fan. I think that he's a solid player, but I don't think he's really any better than what they have on their roster now. And I'm going to go as far as saying that, if I were the Clippers, I'd probably actually rather, maybe even keep Marcus Morris, because Tobias Harris, like I said, he's very hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? There's times where he can, put up decent points. There's times where he lacks in putting up points when you kind of need him to. His game really isn't developed enough to help a team win a championship, I don't believe. And there again, like I said, his basketball IQ, his intangibles when it comes to, the basics and little things on the court, he makes things happen at times. It's just not contagious enough, where other players, start, playing with that type of intensity or defense or mindset, because he doesn't play with it all the time. It's like Tobias Harris has a lot of talent, but he doesn't have a high motor, to me. So it's like, with that being said, I don't feel like that's going to help the Clippers when they have guys like Terrence Mann who will go out there and who can knock down a three like a Tobias Harris, who can give you 17 points a game if given the opportunity, I think, like a Tobias Harris. I really think Terrence Mann can, do a lot of good things when inserted in the lineup, in the starting lineup especially, where he can operate and put an effect on the game in the way that he knows how, which, his energy, his high level of intensity and everything, all that fits well with the Clippers. Whereas Tobias Harris, the way the team is built now, the way the Clippers are built now, he really doesn't fit to me, with the crew that they have now. He fit more so with Blake Griffin and CP3 and them back then. Yeah, he fit more so, with that group. But this group here, I don't really think he fits with them, because he doesn't bring that edge and that toughness that the Clippers would need to get over the hump. And like I said, they already got players on there that got more of an edge and more toughness in them than Tobias Harris does. Even Marcus Morris has more. He's just not playing as well as people think that he should, based upon the money that he's making with the Clippers. So that's the reason why his name is floating around in trade talks just as much or more than anybody else's on the Clippers. But, even still, in the trade itself, Marcus Morris' name was brought up as far as potential in the trade. There's other names thrown out there. There's possible for one of the guys off the bench, like Amir Coffey, somebody like that, maybe throw in there that they can get somebody like Tobias Harris and maybe a pick, from the Philadelphia 76ers, which I personally think the Clippers it would just be a waste of time for the Clippers to do that, because, like I said, I'm not going after somebody like Tobias Harris, who doesn't have a high motor, who is basically hit or miss with his jump shot. He's not really, he can consistently give you about 14 or 15, but he can't turn it up another notch or, anything like that when the playoffs come. And a lot of times in the playoffs, when I've seen Tobias Harris throughout his career, he kind of slows down in the playoffs. He doesn't have the same, motor, as I should say. Once again, there's in the regular season, he can give you 15 to 17, consistently just about. But in the postseason, there's a lot of games where he doesn't even show up in the postseason. I've seen him do that, quite a few times. Even when he was with the Orlando Magic, Doc Rivers. I mean, he was a lot younger then, but still, even though his younger years, I've seen him not really play up to the level that I even thought one time that he could play up to, because I looked at him as being, when he first got to the league and got in and started playing well, I was like, he possibly could be a star player in the league, maybe. Maybe the likes of a Jimmy Butler, Motor-esque type player, but he's not even that, because like I said, he's definitely not consistent enough, and his motor doesn't run high enough on defense to make him a better player, to make him a valuable player in regards to a team that's looking to win a championship. So my personal opinion there is, if I were the Clippers, I really just wouldn't waste time on a guy who, you had one time before, and he really doesn't move the needle for anybody in Clippers Nation or anybody a part of the Clippers organization to me, because he's just not one of those championship level type guys. You see what I'm saying? If you're trying to win a championship, you got to start bringing in people who have won championships, or who has had a lot of experience, or who has played at a high level enough to help you win, So I just don't think the Clippers would be going forward with somebody like Tobias Harris. I mean, I really don't. If they want to, maybe try to shoot for somebody else, on the Sixers, maybe try to get Maxey away from the the Sixers or something like that, which would be tough to do. If they're able to pull off something like that, then yeah, Tyrese Maxey is definitely, a player I think that they would, thrive with and have, on their roster. And that would be a perfect ideal situation to me, because him, if they've somehow found a way to keep Terrence Mann with, Tyrese Maxey, both of them kind of like play the same way, or like the same player in a degree. But you can have one in the starting lineup and one of the other one up off the bench. I mean, the Clippers would really be a tough team then if they are able to pull off something like that and get somebody like Tyrese Maxey, because I mean, he's a future star player. There's no doubt from what I can see in his game, especially the way he plays on a given night basis. So that would be a good pickup. But if it's not somebody of that nature on the Sixers, I wouldn't be worried. If I were the Clippers, I really just look past it and really just look over the situation and kind of stick with what you have, because what you have is a lot better than what the Sixers will be offering you in Tobias Harris. I really do believe that, even though Tobias Harris is a pretty good player, but he's not championship level caliber type player. And Clippers fans are looking for a championship. They're not looking to make the playoffs anymore, because since they've had Kawhi and PG, yeah, they had a lot of injuries and a lot of things like that, but the Clippers would not be looked at as a championship contender if it wasn't for them two players being on your roster. So, I mean, regardless of what's being said or what has been said, you wouldn't be looked at as a contending championship team without Kawhi and Leonard being on your roster and putting on a jersey. There's no way, no how. So along with Paul George. So I mean, you gotta start there, and as long as you got him on your roster, you still got to find a way to pull in some championship level talent, or some talent equivalent to that. And I just don't think Tobias Harris is it. So if I were the Clippers, I definitely would just look elsewhere.